Yeah, okay, so third and final video with retention is pigment. Now, assuming that it's like a quality PMU pigment to begin with, the reason that some people have a better time with different brands is this. If you work really lightly, you need a carbon-based pigment. And I will say that it's rare, like maybe 10% of people that I work with and kind of try to problem solve, like when their retention's not working, it can be the pigment. Carbon, the majority of the time, is not so good because with time it ends up going ashy. If you put it in the dermal layer, it just with time it goes ashy. It's just what carbon does. But basically that black outlasts everything else. So you know, like when people do tattoos on their body and they like outline the color tattoos with the black, and then with time the colored tattoos are really faded and the black is still sharp. That's carbon. Carbon black stays in the skin better than everything else. It's a really, really small molecule. In fact, when you go to do removal with carbon, you actually have to start at the edge and then work inward. Otherwise, it can actually spread. That's how little that molecule is. When you try to remove it, it can spread. So, anyways, I don't love recommending a carbon-based pigment, but if you work really, really lightly to where you're barely touching that dermis and you're almost too superficially implanting pigment, then you need a carbon pigment to get your stuff to stick. Now, different pigment lines have different levels of carbon. So depending on your depth, like a heavy carbon-based pigment, if you're just really, really lightheaded, that's going to be best for you. If you are on the heavier-handed side, you definitely want iron oxides. Now, when it comes to pixel bleeding, because it works a little deeper, that's why we really like iron oxide pigments, because we don't want that to ash out in the skin. So, because if you put carbon in the dermis, that's where it just lasts for friggin' ever. And then, again, it'll outlast all the other tones and then turn gray eventually. So, the longevity of pixel bleeding is amazing, but we just don't want it to go ashy. Okay, so the other thing about pigment that could be affecting your retention, aside from that you might be somebody that needs carbon because you're light-handed, is if you are using iron oxides and your client is low iron. I had a client that was so low iron, she had not had a period for 1 year, and we did her eyebrows. She had a cycle. It literally is a naturally occurring like mineral that your body needs, okay? So if somebody's really low, their body is literally going to eat it up like it's a vitamin. So if you have somebody, if you're using iron oxide based pigment and they just have really bad retention and everything else, you're like, can't be this, can't be this, can't be this, and you're like, what's going on? It might be the pigment. And so how you solve that, you have them take an iron supplement the week before and 2 weeks after, and like 90% of the time, if that happens, it's only happened to me 3 times, but it solved the majority of their retention all 3 times. They were low iron. So that's the only other way that I found that pigment can be a factor. So, okay, I'm gonna go get these kids some, okay, he's getting out of the car seat. Okay, well, before we leave, we're gonna fix that and we'll go get them a treat. They've been really good boys. You've been good boy. We're gonna go get a treat. So, okay, have a wonderful day. Hope these helped you guys, and yeah, okay, bye.